Right, episode 71 on the Saudi Fitness Talk Show. Today, we've got Kiwi Kim on the show today. What is your surname? I don't actually know your surname.
Isles.
Isles. Yes. Isles, now it reminds me. So we've got Kiwi Kim on today, and we're very excited to have you. Very grateful to have you as well, coming on the show.
Thank you.
To join us. It's always great to have a guest to kind of even us out a little bit, humble us a little bit.
It's necessary.
It's necessary a lot of the time. So we don't talk too much. When we talk,
it gets bad.
So, there's someone to moderate us, which is good.
Okay, so the mission is to moderate and balance you out. Humble you,
For sure.
Us talking as little as possible, mainly, and hear about you. But you've got a very interesting journey, and that's why we want to have you on the show.
Thank you.
At the moment, I would say you're probably one of the fastest growing influencers here as an expat in Saudi. Your profile's been growing like crazy. And I think as we delve into it today more and more, because you offer so much value, you give a lot, you know what I mean? Obviously we met, at some of our events, RWC events, but maybe we could start with, your story, where, how did you, from New Zealand and everything else, your sort of background, give people a little bit of an overview of what you were doing and what, up to now with your social media.
Sure. Firstly, thank you for the intro. I haven't thought about being the fastest growing influencer in the region, but I will take that badge with pride.
Yeah.
Thank you. And as I said when I walked in the door, it's great to be able to sit down with people that already I know make me feel comfortable. So it's great to be here. Thank you, and congratulations to everything you guys are doing also.
Yep.
Thank you.
I am a Kiwi, hence the Kiwi Kim Explores.
Yeah, who is it?
Skim Kiwi nailed the name.
I know, right? From New Zealand. Not my first stint in the Middle East. I have done Abu Dhabi in the past, but came directly from New Zealand this time.
Where from in New Zealand?
The South Island. Christchurch.
Christchurch, okay.
Yes, well, I'm originally a Marlborough girl, where all the good boating and fishing is.
Yep.
But Christchurch is the main city that is generally what I would call home. And I wasn't chasing Saudi as such.
Yep.
I was looking to shake up my life. I'd turned 40 and I knew I wanted one more chapter abroad, and I knew that I wanted to do something else out of the box. And I was at a time in my life, I'm footloose, fancy free, I don't have children, I am single, and so I was like, let's get out of this box and see what else is out there to shake up my life. And I wasn't particularly chasing Saudi, but there was
this sort of region where,
Yeah, I knew the Middle East was calling me again. I always thought I'd probably have another stint in the Middle East. Never knew it would be Saudi. But I chased one of the big giga projects, and one of the big giga projects that I knew in my lifetime will never happen again. There won't be another one like this from startup. So that was really, and when people ask me, what's the job market like here? I find that very, very hard, hard to answer. How do you get a job here? Because I haven't dealt with recruiters and I haven't dealt with the general employment market myself.
The usual routes.
I just knew that this was the one company and the one particular project I wanted to be a part of was and that's how I ended up in Saudi. So I knew that if I could, being a part of this particular project was going to be history in the making and being a part of that. But it wasn't until I got here and really got my feet on the ground and started realizing that just as importantly, or if not even more so, being here in the region right now and being in Saudi right now is just as much history in the making than anything else.
That's true.
Those of us that have taken the leap of courage to be here now really are living through something so special, and it is nothing short of history in the making. And those that come in 10 years' time will live through something different.
Another phase.
But in my opinion, this is
now's the time.
The next 5 until 2030 there's a real push, and then there'll be another vision. They're working on it now, isn't it? Vision 2050. So there'll be another phase 2 as such, and that will be a whole different scenario, whatever that's going to be.
And how cool I often say as well that, and excuse my ignorance, and I'm a little bit nervous about me not being worldly enough to speak on things properly, but from what I can tell going on in the world right now, it's one of the few places in the world that has massive hope. There are so many countries in the world with terrible economic climates or circuses of politics or whatever. And, you can almost say that the UAE and Qatar, they've ridden this wave already. Yep. They've done this. I'm sure they've got plenty more to come. But this is the one place in the world right now that I feel like has so much hope. Yeah. And it's because they've got the vision.
They've got a vision, they've got a direction.
Yeah.
Exactly. They've got the coordinates, they've got the direction, and they're going. And they've got a strong leader who knows what he wants.
Yes.
And he's driving it.
In fact, it always ties in. I made a speech at my sister's wedding a couple of years ago, and I said, and it was always been my advice to my little sister is set a goal, figure out what it is you want, set the intention, take action, move the needle, and magic will happen. And that's pretty much what's happening here. They've set the vision. They're taking action, they're moving the needle, and let's see.
Yeah, it seems like he's got the right people with him in the right places, executing fast and hard on everything, that they're going for it, and they're really, because there's so much noise from the outside, isn't there? So everyone's, I will go on YouTube or Instagram, everyone's smashing in Saudi, like they're never going to be able to do this, they're never going to be able to do that, how are they going to get funding for this? But it's moving, it's happening, things are, being built, and things are changing over, especially the last, 5 years, and I really think they will go through all the way through with that. And now they keep setting these little markers, whether it's the Expo in 2030, so that's another goal. They're all moving towards. Now they just got the World Cup, so that's another goal for 10 years. So that's where, like, if you're a foreign investor looking in, and that's what now they're going out more and more. Rather than using a lot of their own money, which makes sense because they're building confidence, they're building trust, they're saying, and security for investors coming in and saying, look, we've got these now with the World Cup and Expo, and there'll be another thing after, maybe Olympics after that, 2040, whatever it will be. So it's like, okay, let's come in, because there's always been that instability. Projects over the last 50 years would start and stop, things would change, but now it's like, look, we've got these markers, we're moving this direction, and I think the demographic population's on their side as well. So 70% is under 35.
Yeah. That's I think it's even less. I think it's under 29 at the moment.
Yeah, it's like under 30. I think.
Yeah.
It's crazy stat.
That's what makes it so unique. Yeah. Is the size of the population, the local population, and that statistic that everyone's so young, brilliant,
hungry, vibrant, and they want to progress. They want to develop.
And so much of what we're talking about is, while we're talking about it, just kind of resonates in real everyday life as well. Like I just was sitting here thinking, well, the momentum's happening, and momentum begets momentum. And it's one of the things I always think about in my own life is like, when you're trying to find self-motivation, and you're tired, or you're struggling, or you're like, is this the right thing I should be doing right now? It's like, okay, just move.
Do something.
Momentum begets momentum.
It does. And it's much easier when you're moving to keep moving and stop, stop and start again. You're breaking all that inertia again.
I think I was listening to something the other day where they were saying that like the most successful people in the world are the ones that make quick decisions.
Just gotta move.
Just keep moving.
It's important that.
Moving fast, not dwelling on stuff for too long. That just slows everything down.
Yes.
Sucks the momentum out of everything.
Yes.
When you came over, what was it, last year?
Yeah, I just hit 12 months. Yeah, 13 months.
13 months. Yeah. What were your first impressions when you landed here? Last year was the first time in Saudi, wasn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And when people ask me my advice, I will often say, if you can, it wasn't possible for me, but if you can, come and do a few days here beforehand. If you're considering coming, come and put your feet on the ground and see it beforehand.
It's getting easier and easier now, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Well, never any easier if you're from New Zealand. So a weekend getaway to Saudi from New Zealand is never possible. I shouldn't say never, but it's not that easy. So no, when I relocated and landed with my bags, it was my first time. That's a lie, actually. I have landed here before, but never gotten off the aircraft.
Not off the aircraft.
Anyway, So, but my first time here. What was my first impressions? I think this will probably resonate with a lot of people, is that it certainly isn't as polished and as shiny as Qatar
compared to Dubai,
the UAE.
For sure. It's rustic, authentic.
It's got grit. Determination.
That's a good way of saying it.
It's power, conviction, determination, as we always say.
Because I kind of think the grit goes well with the dirt and the dust and the sand, right?
It's nice.
That's what we love.
That's where we belong.
Yeah,
we just belong.
And again, again, it's when people ask, it's like that's the one thing I say is be ready for that and be ready to embrace that, because that is what makes things so different here.
I think something I thought, because I was in Dubai, when you come here, you really feel like you're in the Middle East, like what you kind of imagine it to be like. Whereas Dubai, it could have been anywhere in the world. It wasn't.
It looks like a Vegas. I've never been to. I've only gone transited through it, but I've been to Vegas.
Kind of felt very modern, and you know. Whereas here, it's like, we're in the Middle East. Everything's in Arabic, and you're in the mix of it.
Yes,
so.
But I think that the environment matches the vision. It matches what is going on right now. Matches this moment in time.
Yeah.
Because this moment is in time that we are here, getting off the starting
Things
blocks.
Things are changing. Yeah.
And it's
a startup country, isn't it? Basically, in a weird way.
I want to say ground zero, but that's an insult to people that have been here for much longer than me. But we're certainly not at year 16, like someone was saying to me in Doha the other day, that they've been here for 16 years and they started like it is here now. And so it's almost like that all of the things that aren't polished and shiny about here matches that exact moment in time. And we will look back and on so many things that I experience here, I just try to take a moment to reflect and be like, this, I will look back one day and be like, wow, this is what festivals were, in 2024, and this is what driving around the streets was like in 2024, and all of these things. So, embracing it for what it is now, because we're going to be able to look back, and I'm envious of the people that have been here for 7 or 8 years and have already lived through what has happened in those last. Have already lived through women getting the right to drive, and already lived through it. Now I no longer have to have the need for the abaya, and already lived through Boulevard World being built, which is the Vegas of here, and all of that stuff. So
I wanted to ask you about your Instagram and things you do there. So, because from what I can see, like Adam said a minute ago, you provide a lot of value in your posts. You're giving information about things going on and things to do in Riyadh. Because I think, especially for expats, it can be, you come here, you're like, what am I meant to do? It's Friday, my first Friday morning, I drove to the mall, which is closed. It's like, I don't know where I am.
You weren't following Kiwi.
It wasn't following Kiwi. You weren't even here, mate.
No.
So I was, I had no idea what I was doing, basically. Yes. But I think you're providing, places to do, things to see, stuff, whatever. How did you kind of decide to go down this route and help people
where did it
out?
evolve from?
Where did it come from?
Great question. I've never chased social media before, and I left New Zealand really with only friends and family presence following me. And my quickest and most efficient way of showing what life looks like here, and what I was wearing, and what the compound looked like, and everything about daily life, the quickest and most efficient way was just throwing it up on Instagram. And very organically, I think it probably started from, I went out and bought my first abaya, and I just was like, okay, this is the abaya I bought, it's velvet, it cost me this much money, I think it's probably meant to be worn in the winter, but I'm still going to wear it now anyway,
I like
it's beautiful. And
is it a black one or a colourful one?
It's dark. It's still probably.
Most people's first abaya is like black. Can I have colours?
And I think that's probably what started gaining some momentum. I had joined some Facebook chat groups, which was like there's expat women living in Riyadh.
They're quite big among expats, Facebook.
And there's Australians and Kiwis living in Riyadh chat groups. And I think someone shared one of my posts on there, and that's really where the momentum started coming from.
From that abaya, had someone asked you? You just thought, I'm going to just film this and just start.
No, but I was kind of proud to be like, okay, I bought it, and it's beautiful, and I felt gorgeous.
So purely internal, you just thought, I'm actually going to capture this, talk about it.
Yes. And because I wanted to. This is something that my friends and family in New Zealand
wanted to see.
We're not doing. This is not a part of life in New Zealand. So
I think it's a good thing to show, isn't it? Like, because when you're here, for sure, there's things I get it myself. Like I'm sat in the Moroccan barbers down my street, just going. No one in here speaks English. And thinking, what the hell?
Yes.
Like my friends aren't doing this. This is different.
Yes, exactly. And so it's just kind of, I was looking at 1 year ago on my Instagram yesterday, and seeing what I was sharing a year ago, and it still was very much me sharing what my life was like here, which was valuable information. But as the year has gone on, I've really just kind of honed into that, to the point where now I have a written purpose, for Kiwi Kim Explores, and it is that I want to impact and people in a valuable, positive manner with insightful and important information, and whatever form that sits in at this moment in time, and whatever that looks like for others.
So no particular topic, just things that are informative, valuable, here and there.
Like you say here, like showing all you need to live your best expat life, which is nice.
So I have, it's one of the first times in my life that I genuinely feel and hear that I am having an impact on others, and a positive impact on other people's lives. My career in the past has been very fruitful and wonderful for myself and provided me with a great lifestyle, but it hasn't been something that I can sit here and say really has impacted other people. And the number of people in my inbox that are just like, we wouldn't be here if we hadn't seen it through your eyes, and we just thank you for giving us information that we still can't find anywhere else at the moment. And so that's just what I'm rolling on, is that I just love to be able to be like, is this going to be helpful, informative and inspiring information to others to make a positive change in their lives?
And what platforms do you post on?
Well, good question. At the moment, only Instagram and Facebook. And
just those two? No TikTok?
Yes, I'm about to.
I was going to say.
So I'm having this Eid
entering
here,
TikTok,
and I'm not leaving for Eid.
That's
And one of the things in my to-do list of Eid, I don't even have a TikTok account.
We are.
I think we're too old.
You are.
Just, I think psychologically, I look grumpy old men. I think.
Psychologically, I'm 67.
So it's all on Instagram. It's been a great learning curve, but it brings me a lot of joy, and
I think you're going to explode on TikTok.
Do you?
100%. There's I see my wife's on it, and she, there's whenever I go on it, all I keep seeing is like expat females showing their lives and doing this and doing that. And
that's all you see on TikTok. Expat females.
That's what it wants to show me for some reason.
It's not my fault.
It's not my fault. Sorry. But I think because even the type of videos you make is that bam 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 bam. It's gonna.
You have the format down. For sure.
Got the format there already. You just got to post it.
And have you thought about YouTube doing like longer form, something like
this? This is the start of it. We're starting.
I'm just planting the seed.
I absolutely. And I struggle with 45-second reels because I like to waffle, and I think that I found my niche with Kiwi Kim Explores because I like imparting information. And one of the things on my Instagram is that reporting style seems to have resonated. In fact, I find that the ones that I'm
Kiwi
there
Kim live.
The ones that I'm there with the microphone, people seem to. I posted something the other day and it was just visuals of the new metro stations, and no talking. Just music and visuals, and it's done nowhere near as well as me there with a microphone. I'm at the Women's Cup final.
You're like a reporter, isn't it?
You should get one of these. Have the big Kiwi Kim logo on
like Sky News on there.
So for sure, I want to speak more. I like to think I'm reasonably articulate, if I can avoid getting myself into too much trouble. So I suspect that long form at some point would come in the future. There's just so little hours in the day. There's never enough hours in the day.
That's it. It is time. It does take time, doesn't it? With everything going on. I can imagine you starting a podcast one day. I can imagine.
Well, in the meantime, I'll gladly come back.
And from the time since you've been here, what have you seen evolve in this last year with Saudi since you've been here?
Well, one of the biggest things, and the things that I speak about a lot, is the music festivals. And I mean, I've only done a year of being here through live music and concerts, but clearly it's evolving at such a rapid pace. And I went to Azimuth Music Festival, and I advise, if you like electronic music and you like live music, Azimuth is wonderful. It's in the canyons in El Lula in September where the weather is beautiful. Nice. I think it's about a week and a half after Burning Man, so quite a lot of the top DJs in the world come and perform in the canyons in El Lula at Azimuth. And it's only, last year it was only about 2,000, I think.
So not too busy, not too crazy.
So it's not masses. I mean, Soundstorm is awesome as well, but that's masses and masses of people. This is a far more boutique feeling.
Yeah.
And so watching electronic music, and again, I don't want to speak out of turn because I wasn't here 4 years ago, but watching Saudis embrace live music, and find, like, I love seeing their festival style and fashion. Yeah. So compared to like being at a festival in Australia or New Zealand or in America or something.
Yeah, like Reading Festival, Jesus. In the UK, it's just carnage.
Yeah.
Tents being set on
fire.
I was
18, that's what I was
full of teenagers, just wrecked.
Brutal.
Yeah, this is Australia, New Zealand, and I know there's a lot of talk about festivals here and how safe they are to be at, etc. But I encourage people to also go and attend a festival in Australia on New Year's Eve and see how safe you feel.
Yeah, that's classic media. I mean, the festival I went to I went to 2 when I was 18. I didn't shower for 3 days. There's mud everywhere. It's like your tent is just collapsed after like 45 minutes, and there's just lunatics all around you. Here, at least, I think it's a bit. I think it's way safer. Honestly.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
And not. And you're not in a tent.
Not in a tent.
Not mud. Hopefully.
Yeah, not mud. Just a bit of sand, maybe.
Yeah, no one else was. Just me.
Yeah.
Just me in the tent.
So the music scene here, and I've been to a jazz festival. A jazz concert. Sorry.
Watch out. Getting excited.
A jazz concert recently here at the Jax District.
Yeah, Jax is cool.
Yeah, and people, as soon as I put that on my Instagram, there was just so many people being like, how do we find jazz? How do we find more jazz? I didn't know this was happening here.
There's comedy clubs opening up. All this stuff.
Yeah, so I just put on my Instagram the top 5 things to do, my top 5 events happening in Saudi each month. And so I'll try and communicate when I know about things like these jazz festivals, music festivals and things like that. But music seems to be one of the biggest things evolving here, and obviously sport as well, which is, in fact, this is quite interesting, even just in the 12 months I've been here. So I've done 3 boxing events. Believe me, I wasn't a boxing fan at all before I came here. But my sister married an Irish boy. And so as soon as she saw that Tyson Fury was fighting here, they were like, you can't not go see Tyson Fury fight. So I went to the first Tyson Fury fight, which was about a year ago. And in the arena, it seemed very awkward, like you could almost hear a pin drop, and it was almost like nobody really knew what they were meant to be doing in this environment, and it was so quiet and really awkward to me. My perception was it felt awkward.
No one followed the etiquettes. Can we do, can't we do?
Right. And then the second Tyson Fury fight happened, and again, still not a boxing fan, massive boxing fan, but when these things are happening on your doorstep here, where people, if it was happening in London, people are paying £1,500 to see,
a lot of money.
And we're paying very little.
300 reals or that?
I think 175 SAR or something for the second Tyson Fury fight I went to.
And
it's on your doorstep.
You can't get any ticket for that.
In the UK.
No.
Nothing. Yeah.
So you gotta these experiences. That's one of the greatest things about being here at the moment. These experiences are. If boxing was happening in New Zealand, I wouldn't have any interest in going. Yeah. But because it's on the doorstep, it's cheap as chips to go now. And then go, soak it up. The only disadvantage is happening at 2 a.m. But anyway, we'll put that aside. So the second match I went to, and it was a bit more lively, and people were standing up with Sweet Caroline. And so it was a bit more lively. And then the third boxing match that I went to, which was all over my Instagram because Kiwi Joe Parker KO'd the guy. And
I saw Parker fight actually at the. Maybe it was maybe last year. He fought here previously.
Yeah, he's fought a few times.
Yeah, he's good.
And he's such a nice guy. But and so that night, which was just only about a month and a half ago, I think, and very much felt like we were in Vegas now. You know, and Anthony Joshua was there, and people are like screaming for his autograph, and our Deputy Prime Minister was sitting front row with Turkey al-Sheikh. So, and it really felt like they've found their groove at being in a boxing
match. The environment was there.
It felt Vegas-like. So that evolution, just in what I've experienced over 3 boxing matches in 12 months. Is so fun to watch, to be a part of. And I just went, you might have seen, I went to the Saudi Arabian Football Federation Women's Cup final.
This weekend, wasn't it?
Wednesday night.
Oh, this week, sorry.
And so shout out to Al Ahly, the defending champions, it's the second year of the cup.
Second year,
and they've won a second time round. And so again, you know, finding that it's only the third year of pro women's football here, and only the second year of this cup. And it was beautifully done and set up, but you know, it's not a full stadium yet. And who knows how many people knew that it was happening. But I for sure will go back again next year.
I guarantee there'll be more people next year.
Exactly. And even if it's not to find a team that I want to support, but just to watch the
nice event to go to. It's something fun to do.
All these things are beautifully set up as well. High standards of
and like there's families there and everything.
Yes.
Like the UK, you go to a football game.
Don't bring your family.
Don't bring your family. I went to one. I remember my dad told me years ago. He went because he's a Birmingham City supporter. So we went and saw Birmingham City versus Aston Villa, 2 biggest rivals. And it wasn't even the men; it was the women who were shouting so much abuse and and the kids were like this and that. And I was just like, oh my! And I was only probably like 11 or something like that at the time. But my dad was like, there's all these guys, because there was Villa, you know, they're huge rivals, and they were throwing stuff at each other, and I was like, I see why you don't go to football games.
Well, even
a rugby game is more civilised. You go to rugby, twicking them like this.
I was just about to say, even rugby, I went to watch Wasps versus Toulouse, and I was like 7 or 8 or something.
Up at Wickham, yeah?
Yeah, my dad brought me along, and there was some Toulouse fans in front of us, and they were just throwing beer. I was literally, I was 8, just cut.
You had your mouth open.
This sounds more like rugby.
I was just drenched in beer.
That sounds like rugby.
Soaking wet, just in beer. As an 8-year-old. Whereas,
your dad was loving it.
He was like, good boy. he was rinsing me out.
I have this little mission here in Riyadh to get rugby on the map.
Yeah, you're a big rugby fan, aren't you?
Yeah.
We had another Kiwi on the show, Glenn Stollery. And he's not such a big rugby fan.
He's the first ever Kiwi to never.
He's the first Kiwi who wasn't that into rugby. I was like, what?
Yeah, Les Mills.
But Les Mills. But you are.
Yeah, you're exactly.
All black diehard, yeah?
Glenn would be an exception to the
I've
rule.
Never met a Kiwi,
it's very rare to meet a Kiwi that is not rugby. Rugby runs through our blood. Yeah. So no, there's the Riyadh Rugby Club. Shout out to them. They are trying to make big strides and do bigger and better things. And they actually create a great community for expats as well, and Saudis alike. If there are Saudis that know about rugby and want to be involved, the Riyadh Rugby Club is a great place for it, and it's a great place for expats to come together at the Riyadh Rugby Club. So
when and where are they playing at the moment?
They don't have a clubhouse, and I've often said to them that should be your mission, is to have a clubhouse.
They were I used to play that. I haven't played it there for over a year now, because they used to have up at Salwa. Then they moved.
Yes. Well, I
heard they were at Hamra.
Yeah, they navigate around just wherever they can get location at the time. But they play a lot in Bahrain and in Dubai and in
the Falcons. They have all the teams.
But it's still one of those things that's like it's not pro yet. But if you. I can easily put you in touch with the right people, and we just love to see rugby take that step to where
Are they on WhatsApp or Facebook now, those guys? They've got a WhatsApp group.
Instagram. You can look at the Riyadh Rugby Club on Instagram.
You go play your weekly or?
I don't play.
No? I can imagine you going down and just having a go.
No.
This is going to be one of your next videos.
No.
Going down, touch rugby. They do touch.
No, I still don't do this. But I like to go every now and then.
Not one of those.
Shout out to Rustic Bakery. I take along all their desserts. And I just turn up with the desserts.
No heat the players.
No, but so the mission is get rugby on the map a bit more in Saudi.
Yeah, Saudi, the federation though, they're pushing more and more, aren't they? They're trying to. I see them. I remember I played a festival. Was it 2 years ago with those guys, and I just lost touch with them really the last week's work and everything else. But yeah, we played the Saudi Federation brought. They had a touch rugby tournament, and we had the Saudi under 19s and the under 21s came along, and we played against them. They were okay. They were good. Some good kids. Yeah. But it's good that they're really now like pushing more and more with it.
Yeah, they competed. I think it was. They're gonna be mad at me if I misquote this, but I think it was the Riyadh Rugby Club vets team got invited to play in the vets comp at the Dubai Sevens this year. And they didn't quite have enough, because you have to have ex-pro players. So they didn't quite have enough ex-pro players to make up the whole squad.
Yeah.
And so I made a few phone calls to New Zealand and managed to get some...
You shipped in?
Yeah. Some
All Blacks, yeah.
literally some if you know rugby, ex-Crusaders.
Yeah, Dan Carter, you fancy coming in? Dan, you fancy coming over? Richie, you want to come and play?
Don't joke about it so much.
I'm not, I think you probably can talk to them.
Because what it has done is, hopefully, inshallah, started this wonderful collab, as I like to call it, between Saudi rugby and New Zealand rugby. And so these boys flew out and had a great time with the guys from the Riyadh Rugby Club.
Any names that you can throw?
If you want me to.
You know them,
like Tim Bateman, he came out, and and so there was a few of them. There's
some Crusaders guys?
3 in total that we managed to get brought out.
Crusaders is your team, yeah?
Crusaders is my team, yeah.
Of course,
yeah. So, so that was great, and so let's hope that we can, and we talked about if we wanted to really get rugby known here more, how wonderful would it be if we could get a Richie or a Dan and just come out and do some ambassadorship.
You see like in football here, the Barcelona Academy have the events, bring a Crusaders Academy out here, set it up here, franchise it, and then bring some coaches. That'd
be amazing.
Because then again, they always want it's associations, isn't it? You know, so...
But football just so has the spotlight here, so
Saudis love football. They play it, they watch it, everything. Have you seen Ronaldo play yet? You've been to watch him?
Yes.
How was it?
Yes. Great. In fact, I think the game I went to, he...
Sounds like my wife.
He scored a hat-trick.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's like when my wife used to watch me play rugby. She's like, I think did you score it?
No, I did.
She was busy chatting the whole time, talking to everyone else.
I think that Ronaldo has done amazing things for
incredible
putting the spot, for bringing eyes to Saudi, and I don't know, my perception is that he seems very relaxed here and seems to have embraced the whole family life here amazingly. And I mean, I'm such a Georgina fan, so my dream is to actually meet Georgina more than Ronaldo.
Me too.
Just going to use Ronaldo. Use it just to get
But so yes, I have seen him play, and Al Nassr play, and they won, and it was a hat-trick.
It seems like he scores a hat-trick every time.
It's pretty
probably.
He scores at least every game, isn't it?
I cannot even tell you what team they were playing against.
It's okay. It's just details.
You saw Ronaldo, that's what matters.
Yeah. And I actually was like right down there in the tunnel as well,
nice.
so I got to see him quite close up.
Yeah.
Do a lot of people reach out to you and ask you questions? Is that how a lot of your content's comes about? Because people are like, I want to know, can you help me with this? Or I want to find out about that? Or you just come up with different ideas? Or people are,
A great question, because someone who has given me advice about Instagram for the last probably 9 months or so, he said to me at the very beginning, he said, what will happen if you create the right community and you've got an engaged community, they will start telling you what they want to see, and that's just really started happening. In fact, this afternoon I'm going to film some content that is purely based on someone who messaged me the other day and said, I mean, I can reveal it, it's not top secret. Yeah. She literally this woman messaged me, I wish I could remember who it was because I'd shout you out. But she said, I would love to see a video that's just going about your whole day and swiping your card. So what is the cost of the cup of coffee that you're having?
That's a big question, isn't it? How much does this cost?
Yeah, what is it, throughout the whole day, what does it cost for your day to run? And I was like, brilliant.
Did you swipe your card when you came in here? Yeah.
So this is exactly what's happening now, is people are telling me what they'd love to see, and I'm like, that is such genius information.
Yeah, I always liked watching like travel vloggers on YouTube and stuff like that. And, I tend to watch that with the videos where they travel to certain countries and they're like, right, how much does this cost and that cost, and a day in the life, like how much can I do?
Yeah.
How much can $10 get me by in Djibouti or something like this?
Yes.
All this sort of stuff. And that's what the question, we've recruited a lot of people over the last 6-7 years here, and that's also a common question, like how much is it? How much is the cost of living? Can I eat out a lot? How much is eating out? And for us, there's a huge range here.
Exactly.
You can fine dine, or you can eat really cheap.
Yes.
It's
a
lot of options.
And especially when people are asking about accommodation as well, it's a hard question to answer because again, there's such huge variation also, and so. Back to creating content, for me it's about finding that line of this is me sharing my life, but it being valuable information to you, but also knowing that this is my version of life here also, so you can do with that what you like and have different variations of it. So
and that's it, you can choose, can't you? We always talk about the podcast, we don't go through it too much, but eat at local places. You can have breakfast for literally like 9 reals, 10 reals, which are like £2. Have a good breakfast, or you can eat at A-OK Kitchen in like Cafton. Spend hundreds if you want, or whatever it is. So it's a choice. That's the nice thing here. It's not like some place like a lot in the UK. It's all kind of standardised at a set price. There's a little bit less some places, and then a little bit more. Obviously, you go to central London and stuff like that. But
I think it's more like here. You can have. There's like always maybe 3 different versions of the same. Like shakshuka, you can get for 9 reals. You can get for 50 reals, and you could go for probably 100 as well. It's like a scale.
And the biggest one of that is back with the accommodation again. The biggest variation really is whether you're at this end of this accommodation in compound or off compound, and that variation is just huge.
What's compound like though? Life like?
See, I never went to university and lived on a college campus, so it kind of feels like I'm doing that now.
You're back at uni. I feel like you're at uni.
I don't think it's any secret that it's pretty widely known on my Instagram that I live on a compound that's adults only, so there are no children. Whereas most compounds here are very family oriented, which is fabulous for families that are relocating. But yes, my compound generally I would say average age between 32 to 42 probably, if I was to put it something, put an age bracket on it. We're about 400 residents, and the way that my compound is built is almost in a square, so the communal amenities are all in the middle of the compound, and it makes for a mixing pot, a great community living. And
I like those sort of compounds. It's like the one I live. Like the ones that are all spread out everywhere. There's the community. It's not really a community.
Yes. So I say that it is the biggest blessing to be on a compound, and it is also a curse because the blessing being that it acts as a wonderful platform or diving board into a social life. If you want to create a social scene or meet people, compounds are much better for doing that, in my opinion, than being off compound. And if you can do it, be in a compound for at least your first 6 months to 12 months.
That's what we always say. Just to get to meet people.
Yes.
And then branch off if you want to.
And then you know what your money's buying you in a compound versus not, and then you also know your way around the
help if you need help, I don't know where to go, what to do, this is leaking, I don't know who to call, there's always the maintenance there on site.
Yes, people have often commented on my Instagram, these videos that I put up of like, I will just be walking around the compound and I'll jump in my friends' windows. I can see your home, and I open the window and jump in the window, and that's so great. I mean, what better way to build a community and have people that are around you that are there to support you at what can be a challenging time moving to Riyadh.
There's a lot to take in. It's very overwhelming, I think, moving here, especially from like more Western countries. Very different.
Yeah, but the distraction is there for sure, and that you walk. Like I'll walk in the gate and be like, right. It's 5 o'clock and I have got 2.5 hours before I want to be done with my day, and I want to achieve this, and this in the next 2.5 hours, and I walk across the threshold of that gate And within like 30 seconds,
Yeah.
oh, I can't believe, oh, come down here. Oh, you want to play paddle? Oh, come inside, we're having dinner. And of course, it's that balance, but it's continually in your face, that balance between how important is it to continue to nurture those relationships and, as I keep saying, build the community, or stay on track and focused with the goals I want to achieve today.
What about some misconceptions that people, who are looking from the outside in or wondering about compounds? What are some misconceptions that often you think they ask about? You're like, oh, that's not really the case, with compound living.
That it's unaffordable, I suppose, and again back to what we talked about, there being variation.
There's more options coming,
more options. Yeah. I don't know.
You see any sort of movement? You see a lot of people like moving from these big older compounds, the traditional ones with all the amenities, into the more places like yours, and going into a lot more apartments even now, because that wasn't a thing. All expats would be in compounds. Or you hear of or see more people moving into just like an apartment like we are now.
Yes. I hear a lot of narrative around that compounds will become a thing of the past because there isn't, from a safety perspective, there isn't a need for it.
Yeah. Security is really high with those compounds, especially when you drive in. It's like, right, get your pass, do this, do that.
Yeah.
Whereas it's not necessary.
At this day and age, now it's like, why?
Yeah.
But as I keep saying, the community part of it and the meeting people, I just don't believe it's the same being in an apartment complex. But
unless you've been here, like you said, a couple of years, you know people already, you've got your networks.
Totally, yes.
Then you can retreat into your own place and go out and meet people, Yeah.
And I've just signed on for a second year in my compound.
Yeah.
But if I'm to look into the crystal ball gaze, I probably won't do a compound in my third year. I think there's probably
there'll be more options as well. Another year, there'll be a few more options for sure.
Yeah. But if I asked you to guess, what do you think my favourite part of the compound is?
Gym.
Close.
Swimming.
Cold plunge.
Yes.
Cold plunge. You knew this,
Look, I've seen you now. You've turned the temperature up. You've gone to 9 degrees now.
That's not my fault.
I saw it. I noticed it. I said, last week you were, toughing it out at 3. Now you're at 9. So you're softening.
I wish they would allow me to control it, but I don't have control.
Okay, so they changed it themselves.
Probably
costing too much keeping it at 3.
Yeah, like there's some freak.
There's one person who wants it at 3 degrees and it's costing us a fortune.
And no one else can use the ice box.
No one else will get it.
That's
what Nat was saying last week. She's like, it's too cold.
Did she say no?
Yeah.
No, it's so wherever I move next, there's going to have to be a cold plunge.
So where did that stem from? The cold plunging. What inspired the cold plunge? Is it something you listened to like online or read about, or why did you start cold plunging?
Yeah, hand in hand. So I've been cold plunging for probably 4 years now, I think.
Yep.
But not so much cold plunging, cold showering. And in New Zealand, cold showering, it's cold.
Cold showers in the UK are brutal.
Yeah, yes.
Horrible.
When I was in Gatwick recently and I was in the hotel and I went 2.5 minutes at the end and it is cold.
Yeah.
And I think because I have my normal shower hot, do my normal shower and then
Finish
the last 2.5 minutes.
Finish with cold.
I just have a nice warm shower.
Yeah.
Nice warm.
You're so soft.
You do as well.
Yeah, I do. No, I admit that, totally.
It is
nice
life-changing. I will preach about this, I have been preaching about it for so long, but I will continue to preach about it. You ask where it came from. Of course, I would have seen online things like with people preaching about cold plunging.
Saw some Wim Hof, you know him?
Yeah. But it came hand in hand with learning and educating myself more on self-discipline and doing hard things every day and learning that resilience is a muscle that you build, no different to any other muscle in your body.
Physical muscles,
And I am completely addicted to
dopamine.
Well,
and adrenaline.
But I'm completely addicted to wherever something feels comfortable.
Yeah.
Pushing out of that, because that's where the magic lies.
Yeah.
And really being here in Saudi right now is some of that. I was like, okay, this is uncomfortable. The thought of moving to Saudi Arabia, to Riyadh, is an uncomfortable thought.
It is, yeah.
But surely that's where the magic must lie then. And so So I start my day in that manner every day. It's like, this is the most uncomfortable thing I could do.
Do the hard things first, hardest things first.
Do the hardest things first, and it's uncomfortable. And once you've done that, you feel the sense of yes, the dopamine, but the sense of accomplishment, and that comes with it. Of being like, yep, I didn't want to do this. And no morning do I want to do it. Every single morning, I'm like still going through that narrative in my head of why not to.
Yeah.
And half the time it's because, now they've turned it up to 9 degrees, there's no point in going in there.
Yeah.
But
It's just another excuse.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then the flip side of it is as well that I'm like, no, but it's got to be 4 because that's the challenge. Like 4 degrees is the challenge.
Yeah.
It's kind of quiet in the mind, isn't it?
Yes.
All the chat, all the natter, all the chatting, all the all that stuff going on.
Yes.
Because the first minute is the hardest. Then after it starts to ease off a little bit, and then once you get into a groove with your breathing. You start with that first minute with the shock and everything's all the...
I think it's less than a minute, honestly.
Yeah, the capillaries are restricting like all the so, and then it's like, okay, now I know where I am. But you adapt quickly, don't you? I imagine now you probably stay in there for 5 minutes, 7 minutes.
I don't find any benefit from staying
there isn't,
there
but you
longer.
could.
I could, absolutely. Yeah. But for time efficiency purposes, I don't.
I know people stay there like 15 minutes, like they just...
Who has that time?
Exactly.
But truly, like I'll get out and get on with my morning, and from the minute I get back up into that apartment, like I just see the world through such different eyes. The rest of the morning, I feel the optimism, the focus, and the alertness, the positivity, and just the talk of the reframing of how I'm speaking to myself. It probably is because I'm by myself as well, so I'm far more aware of this. Like I don't come back up to my apartment to a whole lot of children and juggling other people. It's just me and my thoughts. And so I'm very aware of it, that my own self-talk is so different after I've been in that cold plunge than before it.
Yeah, I take my daughter with me. That's really nice. Poppy, you met Poppy.
She gets in?
Yeah, she gets in before me. She loves it. So she dives in. We go a lot of mornings, especially on weekends. We go in the morning. Even in January, she would go straight in the pool and get in the cold plunge.
Good
she
on
just loves
her.
Yeah. She's way more resilient than me. Because then she gets in. She's like, "Daddy, you have to go first." I'm like,
but don't you think that's one of the most wonderful things you could ever build into your daughter? I've never thought about that, to build her to be resilient. Like of all the things you could teach your daughter to be.
Yeah, she loves it. And that's what is, I'm very proud of her. She went now before February, January, she will go swimming in the cold pool because it's not heated outside. And there's no one else there. I tell her, you're the only one doing this.
Wow, that's
you're the only one doing this. You're so brave. You're so strong. All this stuff.
That's so good because that's kind of what I tell myself when I'm in. Because someone said to me the other day, because I speed up the video when I do my cold plunge videos. I speed it up from times, I don't know, 6 or something. And so my breathing looks like I'm talking, but sometimes it is because I'm singing, because I put my music on down there as well. I think this morning was
just drown out.
It's my life, it's now or never. But one of the things someone said to me, what are you saying to yourself? Actually, Nat said to me, what are you saying to yourself when you're in there? And one of the things I do say to myself is, which is going to sound very egotistical, but I'm doing something at 4:45 or 5:10 in the morning that nobody else is doing right now. And this, not nobody, but that very few other people have chosen not to do this morning. No one in the compound.
For sure you know.
For sure, I'm the one that unlocks it in the morning.
It builds a lot of self-confidence, I remember I used to think like that when I was 18, 19, when I was just starting getting into professional rugby, or even though I was still at school when I was my last year, and I was the only guy who started doing strength and conditioning, actually training. All my friends and stuff, they used to do the minimal. I'll just turn up, play rugby, go home, sort of thing. I was the only one of the whole team who actually went. I used to train with a coach and all that, because we had a coach, but no one. I can't be bothered. I just do all my stuff or don't do anything. And that used to empower me, thinking I'm the only one doing this.
Yeah.
And I'm getting stronger. I was getting stronger. Then I got into professional rugby, and then I got into all this. So and that just, that thing, it just builds, and then I always think that I'm the only one doing this now. I know back when I was really into everything a lot, waking up, just go swimming at 5 a.m. in the cold water, and I think, it just empowers you, doesn't it? Yeah, but
and it seeps out into every other aspect
of everyone else,
life, right?
Gives you confidence for sure.
Yes, but this is Richie McCaw. They always, my stepfather, big. This is where the rugby comes from. My stepfather's a big rugby man, And he always told me that Richie McCaw, so the All Blacks or the Crusaders, they would train, and then everyone finished training, gone, and Richie McCaw would always go and run around the park another, I don't know, half a dozen times or something after everybody else was gone. And my stepfather, shout out Bob, he always says there's a lot less traffic on the extra mile. And that was apparently a Richie McCaw quote. And that's it.
Look at him, he's a savage. But you see Ronaldo, his biggest thing, he's always the first one in, last one out of training.
Is he?
And someone who's 40, but he's 40 odd years at 40 years old now. Yeah. He's played at the top level, but even now when he's at NASA, he's still first one into training, first one out of training, last one out of training. Stands, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant, look at all these guys. It's success leaves clues, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And you see guys you study like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, all these guys. You just hear the same. There's patterns.
Yes.
Yeah. It's as they say, history doesn't repeat, it rhymes. You know what I mean? So it's not maybe exactly the same.
I've never heard that.
But you see similar things and
Yes.
look the same all the way through.
And habits.
Yep. Habits.
You've just got to rely on the habits, don't rely on the motivation.
And they're so consistent no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter how they're feeling, they're so consistent. Good days, bad days, doesn't matter. Richie McCaw will still go do that run, he will still get up at the same time, at the same, whatever it is. Consistency, just doing the same thing over and over again and just relentless towards it.
Yeah. So good.
With all that stuff. But with all the, you going out there, you're filming stuff in public and all these type of things. How has that been? Has people come up to you? Have you had any sort of incidences with that? Or, when people are like, oh, don't film me, or all this sort of stuff. How's that journey been like? Because it's quite, even if I'm in the UK, I feel a bit, uncomfortable. That's probably a thing you've got to get over initially, isn't it? Like being out in public, talking to yourself, all this type of thing.
Yeah. In fact, when I get asked about hate or backlash, I don't think I'm big enough to be receiving massive amounts of it yet. It may come. But I feel like the judgment comes far more from New Zealand than it does from here.
That's strange.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
In what way? What was it? Literally comments? Through comments and stuff like this?
Not publicly, but I think that it's, as I said, this isn't something I was doing back in New Zealand. So I like my social media to be as organic as it possibly can. But I guess there are people in my life that aren't used to me showing my life. And we have a big thing in New Zealand about
modesty
and tall poppy syndrome.
It's the same culture, isn't it?
And if I'm being completely open and honest, that I kind of feel that already a little bit from there is the why, what is your intent?
Who do you think you are?
And for me, I know, I'm at that point where it takes a lot of time and energy to put what I'm putting out on my Instagram, and that time and energy is being not taken away, but I could either be lying by the pool and at the compound and relaxing, or I could be going and filming some content this afternoon that I enjoy doing and is valuable to others.
It's not your job as well.
But it's not my job. So what I'm trying to say is that I know that you can look at it and from a very look at me, egotistical point of view.
Attention.
Yes. But really, as I said at the very beginning, the reason why I persevere with it and the reason why I'm continuing to put the time and energy into it is because the feeling I get from what I'm getting back from others, and so
the gratitude, people say thanks for doing this, you helped me with this, you did that.
And the purpose behind it makes me feel great. And so I think that gets lost in translation a little bit between here and New Zealand. And yet here it's just met with such
open arms.
And such love and such gratitude from others.
I think, look, as well, people watching you in New Zealand, the content isn't really for them anyway.
No.
And no matter what
they
you
wouldn't
do,
understand.
They don't get it, and people, whatever you do, they're gonna want to shit on you at some point. They're gonna be jealous of you. They're gonna want to.
A lot of people just want to consume and not produce. Consumption, production. People just want to. People just consume. consume and accumulate and build instead of giving and producing and creating and all this stuff, which takes energy.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It takes preparation, it takes all this other stuff.
Yes.
Well, you can just sit there, you can sit by the pool and just go on Instagram and scroll.
Yes.
And just consume.
Yeah.
Sit there and
just
talk
sit
shit.
there. I'm going to comment and shit on this person.
Yeah.
Even though I'm just sitting here doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I'll be completely open and honest that there is no monetizing of my social media at this point. By law, I cannot do that right now.
Yep.
And so, as I said, it's all about me giving back to get back the feeling of purpose and helping others. So truly and honestly, that is the only reason I'm doing what I'm doing now at this moment in time. And I am also like, leave no stone unturned. Who knows? I guess what I should also emphasize though is that I feel like the experience that I'm having here in Saudi is extraordinarily different because of my Instagram. And like just being able to be down on the pitch at the women's football the other night. Again, none of this is being sponsored, none of this is collab stuff at all, but to be able to go and see those things and have that experience. And even if it wasn't on the pitch, I normally wouldn't even go to a women's football game. But as I said before, to be able to go, A, experience it, and B, experience it at this time, and then next year see it again and
evolve.
Yeah. So, back to your original question. Here it just feels like it's embraced with such massive positivity and warmth. And so, being out, filming myself, I don't know, this is going to sound egotistical, I find it easy.
I
have no... I know.
You are terrible,
You are.
Honestly.
This reflection that I'm having from this podcast.
We're your therapist. We're like, actually, you know what? We come to the conclusion.
I thought that I was here to humble you guys.
All the way around.
This is how we spin it. We lead you down a false sense of security, this alleyway, and then we corner you. You know?
You've said Rigo's huge 3 times now.
Oh gosh, but I have no issues being in front of the camera. I have someone helping film for me these days, which I love, and the person who does my filming, shout out Caroline, she and I just have such a blast running around, doing these things together, having these experiences together, and I feel completely comfortable with the camera out in front of everybody. And
well, I guess you have to.
I don't know where, maybe because in my previous life I was in front of a bunch of people
so you're used
all
to presenting
the time,
as such.
presenting in a different environment. So I'm good with.
You're good.
Yeah.
It is this, like the opportunity to go back to that. It's like us getting invited on. As soon as we started the podcast back in April last year, we got within a month or 2 we were invited on the national radio to talk about it. And we're like, what?
That's
that never happened.
We were
on getting invited on the BBC basically, and you're like, come on.
We were laughing so much. We were like, what the hell is going on? Why are they inviting us?
Why are they inviting us? We've done 10 episodes or whatever it was by then.
Yeah.
But it is, you just don't get that. We wouldn't get that there, in the UK. And same for if you going to a football game or whatever, you wouldn't get invited on.
Well, even if I was back in Abu Dhabi or in Dubai and filming my life, I'd still be sitting here with 250 followers because it's done.
Yeah, but Saudi's like that now. Yes. Everyone's curious about it. They want to see inside from the outside.
Yeah.
Everyone's at the moment is like, when you go to the pool and you want to just dip your toe in. They just want to they don't want to jump in. They don't want to dive straight in. They just wanted to feel it. Okay, what's happening there? Okay. All right, and there's other people that I'll jump in.
Yes.
Are there any other expat influencers in Saudi that you take inspiration from, or they did the same kind of thing as you, or are you the only one doing it? Because I have no idea.
I'm definitely not the only one doing it.
As in, in terms of the type
I can show you if you're on TikTok.
Oh, you have a few. Yeah. Well, expat, any from New Zealand, any similar to you, or you think you're the only one?
I don't know of another Kiwi. I don't think.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm drawing a blank. But I like to think that what I'm doing is unique. I definitely follow Frankie Hilton.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's showing a lot of what life looks like here from a great perspective of being a mother and also embracing her social media, podcasting, all of that as well. I think she's putting out really good stuff as well. And of course, just keeping up with everything fitness is Nat's, which Nat puts out on her Instagram is often great. Also, Nat Bristow. Nat Bristow coaching, and not even just her fitness stuff, her mental wellness stuff.
That's all we dug into last week, all the NLP, mindset, and everything else. Yes. It's great stuff, but that's where a lot of it starts with. You just got to start with here from the mind, and training that. People try and focus on the body, train the bodies, but you also got to train, like you were saying, with the cold plunging or via whatever different strategies people use. But you got to work on the mind as well. Because it can quickly just go.
I think that I love following some Saudi.
This is what I was trying to understand, because
more than expats, to be honest.
Let's say Dubai, it's so English speaking, influencer heavy.
Yes.
Whereas I just haven't seen that here, really. Like there's a few here and there, but it's not.
But your Instagram's messed up.
My Instagram's people dying.
Your algorithm's
so
you need to reset.
It's really, really bad. Yeah. It's terrible. Just delete my account. But
yeah.
There's a lot of Saudi influencers.
Yeah, Saudi influencers for sure.
Yeah. And to be honest, shameless plug, I would love to do some content with a Saudi influencer as well at some point. I went to the football with a Saudi friend of mine the other night. I took her along with me, and she didn't want to be on camera, which is completely understandable and I accept entirely. But just so all of those things to be doing with a Saudi as well is so great because A, she corrects my grammar, and B, just the insight, and just to be able to be like, it's fascinating to me that 3 years ago there was no pro football. Is it just as fascinating to you? Is it more fascinating to you than it is to me? So, and I think one of the things I try to check myself on, and Compound Life contributes to this, is trying not to be just checking myself how much of an expat bubble I'm in all the time, and wanting to like I know a friend of mine, he definitely did not want to be on a compound, even though the compound life would probably suit him perfectly. But he was very intentional about not being on a compound because he wanted to immerse himself more in Saudi life. And that is the greatest, one of the greatest things about, one of the biggest differences about here compared to the UAE and Qatar is that the mass of the population is locals. And the expats are the minority. This is not the case in the UAE.
No, it's total opposite. Was it 88% of the population
expats? Is expats, right. And so you have that ability to immerse yourself into Saudi culture, Saudi life here, but you very easily can also just end up in an expat bubble if you don't check yourself on it.
What advice would you give to, because there's a lot of people now obviously on social media and getting on social media, doing TikTok, and it kind of, you came from a sound very authentic when I wanted to start showing my family what I was wearing, So for people who are looking to who are doing little bits here and there, what would be some of who are aspiring to get into a more influential position on social media and grow their accounts and this type of thing from what you've seen and witnessed? What would be some of your advice, would be some of these people?
Two things. Have a why to start with, WHY, why. Have a really set intention of why you are doing this. Not what you want to do, but why you're wanting to do what you're wanting to do.
Why is the why important?
Because
why?
Well, because otherwise your content has the potential to be diluted and just go in 1,000 different directions, which then won't particularly build a specific audience. So unless you're Kim Kardashian and appeal to 350 million people around the world, you kind of want to hone in on...
Have some niche.
Yes, who is my information for? And really, you'll figure that out by understanding what your own why is. And the other reason being why you need a why is because...
To keep you motivated.
Correct. It's time, and it is, no lie, there is some money involved as well, and it's time and money, and if you are able to monetize it, lucky you, but until that point, you need to be motivated just to keep putting put giving into it, and like anything else, the only reason that you'll find motivation is if you've got a good why. And then my second piece of advice is know the laws of the kingdom. They, I think 2 years ago, brought in the influencer license, which whether you can hold an influencer license or not depends on your Akama status, and depends on your employment status, if you're sponsored to be here by another company, and all of that stuff. So it's a bit of a minefield.
Yeah, check all those things out.
And it's certainly not the same as the UAE or Qatar.
Yeah.
And so make sure that what you're doing is within the laws of the kingdom as well.
Yeah, no, it's people just start and you just don't even think about it, do you? And a lot of people come here. I imagine if they're here, especially on short-term or tourism, but I think because of the past, I think people are very, like you were saying about the boxing environment, people are like, they're very like risk averse. They don't want to they're not sure what can I say, what can I wear, what can I do, like all that sort of thing. You know, people come in almost very, what's the word? You know, like tentative to kind of do stuff because they're not sure. Oh, I've heard about this. Cautious. Yeah, exactly. That's the word of doing stuff. But because people think it is the same as UAE. And it's not.
No.
But even, I think from what I hear, you live there, even UAE is not what people think as well. Like it's still strict there. People think it's so loose. They think it's like, Europe, in Middle East basically. But it's still, it's a strict, it's run, it's tight shit, they run there. You know what I mean? You can't just be doing whatever you want all the time, all this sort of stuff. You know? But I think people come, so I hear a lot of Brits.
To be honest, I felt, what I thought personally was that before, I thought it was going to be stricter. When I got there, I felt looser.
Yeah.
But then you hear people getting caught out because they get into this false sense of security.
Sense.
They can drink, they go out, they just act like they were at home, and then something happens and it ends badly. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and I think that can happen with people's social media. You think that what you're doing is just free and loose, and you can do whatever you like. But there are laws, there's law, and you need to be cautious about what you're saying about the culture and the country, and be sensitive to where you are, and no matter what, I'm a guest in this country.
Yeah, we all are,
And so be sensitive about what you're speaking on, be informed of what you're speaking on, but really, there are already laws here for influencing, and they may change in 6 months, in 12 months, who knows, but make sure that you know what.
Mostly just happens on the spot, doesn't it? With things here, there's no warning with anything.
No.
Just bam, the next day, this has changed, this has changed. Which is quite exciting in a way.
Keeps on your toes.
I'm sure the lawyers are having a field day.
Yeah. And what about, so you talk about, for community sort of side of things, have you found, other, outside of your compound, other communities that you can get yourself into, you know what I mean?
So this is where I shout out RWC.
You could. I don't know. This podcast is sponsored by RWC.
It's
Well, I mean, and truly, genuinely, organically, I can say RWC. In fact, one of the reels that has done so well on my Instagram is the first RWC event I attended, and I named the hook on the front of it is want to know how to meet new people or make new friends or something. I think the hook is want to make more friends or something. And I think it's that hook at the beginning of it that has gotten so many views, because those RWC fitness festivals, I love them because the workouts are great, and I'm a group fitness junkie.
Yeah, you are.
But secondly, people just love meeting people there.
Yeah. And new people every time, there's different people there.
Yes. So it's not like you're going to the same Monday morning, 6 a.m. spin class and you're meeting the same 30 people in the class. You're actually meeting a different combo of people all the time, which is great. So, and the workouts are just so good, especially that first one I went to, Alhambra. That one was punishing, and I loved every minute of it. So for sure. And sorry, RWC, but they're not the only ones doing it. But if you can get into those, and I try to share as many of them as I can on my Instagram for people to know about as well. I think those are just, as I said, they're double-edged sword, because they're double banger. Whatever you get two, but you kill two birds with one stone. To work out, and you get to meet great people as well.
Are there other ones? Well, not just fitness related, but there are other community, like you go part of, whether it's music or whether it's,
Yes.
other these sort of things, groups that you go to, or other expats?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we generally just have a group of us that have all found each other via the compounds. So we will. I will organise events a lot of the time for other expats to get together, or we barbecue together, things like this. I've organised last year, and I'll do it again a couple of times this year, Babes Go Bowling. In fact, one of the questions someone had for me was, what is one of the most hidden secrets? What's one of the most hidden secrets of
hidden gems of Rio.
Hidden gems of Rio.
Yeah.
And I'll always say it's the Strike Bowling Alley at the Ritz-Carlton. So in the basement of the Ritz-Carlton is the bougiest bowling alley you'll probably ever find.
Okay.
And so it's all carpeted, well the bowling is
hopefully not the actual.
And couches to sit on, and it's only, I'm sure it hasn't changed, I haven't been for the last 3 months, but I'm sure it hasn't changed. It was 150 star.
Yeah.
And for 150 star, you get to I am not sponsored by this, by the Ritz-Carlton, feel free to sponsor me. I'm not this.
Or us. If you feel like it. Yeah.
But for 150 star, you get to valet your car, you get a mojito, like a mocktail when you walk in.
That's awesome.
And you get to choose a food thing off the menu. Like their pizzas anywhere like 140 sar if you were to order them off the menu.
Oh, you get food with the ticket.
So you can order one thing off the menu for each of you.
Yeah.
And like a pizza, truffle fries, whatever you want, chicken wings.
All included, yeah?
And this included in this 150 star. And you can bowl and bowl and bowl and bowl. There's also table tennis in there. But here is why it's my hidden secret.
Here's the kicker.
Is because last year they have a screen down there that they've often got the football on. And last year, the All Blacks were playing South Africa, and I was like, there's got to be there's no sports cafe or bar.
Yeah.
And I was editing a reel of being at the bowling alley, and I was like, they've got that screen down there. And I know Beatrice, who does the PR for Ritz-Carlton, and I said, do you think that you can put the rugby on for me at the down at the Strike Bowling Alley tomorrow night? They subscribed to a rugby channel for me. And so now when the All Blacks are playing, I take people down there. And we go down there and we watch the rugby and we bowl and we drink mocktails and we eat 140 star pizzas all for and valet park all for 150 star.
All right, summer series.
There we
That's
go.
where we go.
That's where we have to go.
Yeah. So there's a lot around rugby, and then as I said, then I take girls, like Babes Go Bowling is a little event I throw.
Nice.
So I take girls down there as well. And were you asking me about events or community?
Other things that you're aware of, or
I think
things you attend, or
I think no. That's probably. I just push people in the direction of sports. Paddle as well.
Yeah.
Paddle is so great. I think they say now paddle is the #1 sport for networking or something.
Probably.
I think they've said.
It's the new squash.
It's exploded all over the world.
It's the new squash, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you can cross compound. Like you can go play. And I think Saudis are getting into paddle as well.
Huge.
So
all our clients they play.
Everyone, rolls their ankles.
Gets tennis elbow within the first session.
Everyone.
They play like 3 hours in one go and they're done.
Yeah.
Can't play for 3 months.
So whether it's, I think I saw as well that they're investing masses of money into cricket coming up in the next few years as well.
They could do really well
They could make a good cricket team there.
They could.
Yeah.
With all the expats from India, Pakistan. A phenomenal team.
Sport is my #1 piece of advice. Get into and if you're not in a compound, even just find some people that are in compounds, because they generally will have a crew of people to meet as well.
You went to Sport Boulevard, wasn't it? The other day?
Yeah, I went to Sports Boulevard the other day.
Like it?
Yeah, I just think it's going to change the way people live in Riyadh forever.
Yeah, a bit more active, give more opportunities, isn't it?
If you're going in it now, while it's new, and if you go to where it's called the Promenade, and then if you go cycle or walk toward the Art Tower, there's an information desk or shed garage.
At the end of it, isn't
it? At the end, And inside there, you can go inside, and I've got a room, blacked out room, that's just got all screens showing the end, what the end result of Sports Boulevard is going to be when it's all growing, and it is going to be beautiful. And I think of all the big projects happening, this one really will change the standard of living here.
I believe so as well.
Get across the whole city, can't you? You basically walk the whole city.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And all the things along the way for kids to do as well.
Yeah. Well, we didn't change the city big time.
When we went, we were playing on the swings.
It was good. And when all those trees are growing.
Yeah. It's going to be nice.
And then, and at the same time, I haven't been yet, but I'm dying to go at night time because I suspect that that's really when it's going to come alive.
It's packed. You see some of the on like those Instagram pages like Riyadh today, and like you go there at night, it's absolutely heaving.
And how's the metro as well? Yeah, I've still not been on the metro.
No.
Yeah. So I've been on the metro three times now, I think. Yeah. It's so good. I think what I've said in one of my videos is that it just leaves some of those big old stations and railways and some of the other big cities like London Underground and New York Subway. It just makes them seem archaic, cold, concrete jungles. This is just sleek, modern, the epitome of cleanliness.
Yeah.
Like if you drop your food on the floor, you might as well just eat it.
In Sports Boulevard, going back to that, there's people cleaning it all the time.
And this is just the beauty of this part of the world. But it's fast, it's modern, it's clean, it's easy to use. You don't need an app, you don't need a credit card. Well, you can use a credit card. You just put your Apple Pay on your phone, so you don't even need to be carrying a card.
So easy. Yeah.
And the lines are easy to understand: green line, orange line, blue line, red line.
Yeah.
And the stations they have built now.
I just saw another one get released the other day, wasn't it? This week or last week or something like that.
Yes.
There's a brand new one.
So Casa Al Hokum is the station I went to the other day, and that's the one that's got like the big. You know that big Chicago jelly bean? You know that with all the mirror on it?
Yeah.
So they've almost done that to the roof of it. And it's like, I don't know if you've been in Changi or Doha Airport. All green, just greenery growing, and real greenery growing everywhere. And a friend of mine, shout out Nathan, he works for the Metro, and he was telling me that they sustain this. They are taking all the water off the roof of the building and using that to water all the plants within. It's stunning. I encourage you, take your daughter. She would love to ride the Metro.
Yeah, she would.
And ride it to Casa Al Hokum. And there's snacks, there's a Metro Mart there, so buy some snacks, and get back on the train. But
I should be fast in that then. Low carb.
At Casa Al Hokum, you can go outside as well and see it's beautiful on the outside, that station as well. And then go ride the train to CAF. That CAF station is gloriously beautiful. So East End Resistance. And then once you're at CAF, there's so much to do, and I think that the Metro will just activate CAF now.
What about your own fitness? You train daily, go to gyms? Or you go to gyms in Riyadh or studios or anything like that, or train in the compound? Or
So I try to be as positive about everything as I possibly can be, but I think
reframing, as Nat would say. That's a reframe for us.
I think we all know how much I miss Les Mills. Because
they're coming soon though, when Gym Nation opens up in Riyadh.
Yeah, but Les Mills in New Zealand is a Les Mills gym. It's just all Les Mills group fitness class.
Glenn, get in Les Mills gym.
Yes.
Glenn.
Like a dedicated Les Mills gym.
Yeah.
I'll do all the promo work. In short, I try to move every day. And I think we're all normal, most of us are normal, but there's the odd day that I don't. I've gotten to the point now where it might not be what I intended to do every day, but it is something every single day. It's very rare that I don't cold plunge, so I always start with cold plunge, and then Nat does the Pilates classes on the compound, and that's obviously another great piece of advice if you are moving onto a compound and you've got classes of any sort, whether it be pottery classes or whether it be art classes or fitness classes. So Nat does the Pilates classes. Go join them. You'll meet easy way to meet other people.
Yeah.
So Nat does the Pilates classes. We do so lucky to have those on the compound. We do 2 of those a week, and then I'm either on the treadmill or doing some weights via an app.
Nice.
But I would love to just jump into a fitness class anytime. Oh, and I've got a paddle coach now.
Oh, you have a coach?
Oh, he is delightful.
I thought you were going to say delicious stuff.
Delightful's enough. Yeah.
Okay, delightful, fun.
He is wonderful.
Yeah.
So he comes to the compound.
Shout out, who is it?
I don't think he wants to be shouted out.
Okay, he doesn't want to be bombarded with loads of women.
Well, because he trains some pretty amazing people in the kingdom.
Fun.
So, and me.
Yeah. Ego again. Ego. Let's stop.
But he comes on a Sunday for 1 hour and he trains myself and my Canadian friend Emily, and the 2 of us have 1 hour with him, and it is so much fun.
Yeah.
And we've had probably coming up to a dozen lessons with him now, and I had not played paddle prior to this. A, obviously paddle, everyone's loving paddle, and it is fun. But B, it is, don't underestimate the hit you get from doing something new. Like, again, that accomplishment feeling.
Yep.
Like, just went, this is...
Being a beginner again, yeah.
Being a beginner again, and I'm like, I just learned something. I know how to do something I didn't know how to do.
Yeah.
So anyway, but it's so fun. So yeah, I'm paddling, having a lesson once a week, and then I try to get out there and hit the ball around a couple of times a week as well. And that's easy to do because everyone's up for it on the
Yeah. Got the weather as well. It's nice.
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, not for long, but
it's going to move into the evenings now. You'll be playing later, after sunset or whatever, early morning.
Yeah. Not late. But they play late at night.
They play at 10 o'clock at night. Yeah.
In the summer, I think that's your only option.
Yeah, 9, 10.
Yeah. No, not for me.
It's,
but yeah, group fit, and then all the RWC group fitness festivals.
Yeah, of course.
And I just try to jump on anything that's group fitness.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
good.
So what's next for the platform for Kiwi Kim? Where's it going? What's the plan? Any plans? And
well, if you've
moving
listened this long through to the podcast to this point in time, you clearly know that I have lots of valuable insight and information to share. And I struggle to cut it down to 45-second reels. So I would love to find myself doing long form at some point.
Yeah, YouTube.
At some point. Give it time, I'm not quite sure when. And all of this is very new. Like, I only feel like I'm just starting to find my groove with creating content, reels and things. Like, just only now, after a year, am I really feeling a little more comfort with the actual content creation part of it.
Reps.
That's right. So, yes, long form will happen for me at some point, YouTube or...
Love to see you on YouTube. Start in a long form, 15, 30-minute videos, going somewhere, whatever it is, that vlogging sort of style.
Yeah, vlogging reporter style.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I took my friend Nathan, who works for the Metro, and another buddy of mine who loves trains, James, and so we went on the 3 of us, and Caroline, who does my filming, the 4 of us went on the Metro the other day, and I've got just like 3 hours of content of like James asking Nathan questions and Nathan answering, this is how many lines are open now, and I'm like, how do I...
45 seconds.
45 seconds! So that stuff is so good for YouTube.
Yeah, you got to YouTube. Get it out there,
If there's anyone who wants to help me build a YouTube and can make it fast and efficient process, a learning process, find me.
Yeah, I think we may have a guy.
We got a guy.
We can introduce you to him.
Oh, good.
He's a YouTuber now, He's here in Riyadh.
But he will help.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll probably want to collab. Just speaking for him.
I would love that. Is he Saudi?
No.
Okay.
British guy.
Yeah. I'd kind of like to go Saudi.
Maybe he can kickstart you and then you find Saudi.
Yeah.
We'll talk afterwards.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay, and one piece of advice for someone looking from the outside in, looking at Saudi, worried, scared, everything else, and they're looking to come but not sure how to come, everything else. What would be your one piece of advice if they come into Saudi? What would be your one piece?
other than follow Kiwi Kim Explores.
Of course.
That's number one. Yeah.
As soon as you land, follow, before you land, Kiwi Kim. As soon as you land, join RWC, and then...
Yeah.
I actually did a reel the other day called my number one tip if you're relocating.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
It's a bit of a spoof, but then my number one tip, and this is good to know, that when you land at the airport, you're going to get your photo taken, and that photo is put on your Akama.
Yes, true.
And that your Akama is your ID, and that is what you're going to show everywhere to everybody.
It's 16 years,
Yeah, it's got dreadlocks.
It's got dreadlocks on it.
So if you're travelling on a 16-hour flight from Australia or wherever,
do your makeup before you go.
Do your hair and makeup before you step off for that. No, but yeah, that is a good piece of advice. But I would, do you know what? It's going to be the same piece of advice I had for people creating content. Know what your why is.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'd be doing a disservice if we didn't say that it can be a challenging city and a challenging country to live in.
That's true. Yeah.
And so again, you need something to keep you motivated, and so be it. If it's the money, fine. No, make that your why. If it's because, I think I heard Frankie Hilton saying on a podcast the other day that is her kids couldn't have private schooling and they've all got private healthcare here, and that wouldn't be the reality. Sorry if I'm misconstruing your words, but that wouldn't be the reality if they were still back in the UK. Yep. So if that's your why, fine, if that is your why. If it's that this is the hub, I think 40% of the world is within a 5-hour flight from Riyadh. Once you can start flying directly to everywhere from here. So if it's that you can travel from here so easily, where maybe you couldn't from New Zealand, and that's your why, great. But have an intention, set your purpose, have your why very, very clear as to why it is that you are here and why you're coming, and that may change once you're here.
Yeah.
And again, so be it, but you need that. There's no point in just coming and being like, oh, then I'm just going to go have a grand old time like everybody looks like they're having in Dubai.
Yeah. And I think that, to add to that, I think you've got to be proactive here as well. Because if you just come, you have your why, if you come and just sit in your apartment or your compound all day, you've got to go out and do things. You've got to go find your people, find your community, you'll have a much better quality of an experience here in life and everything else. Whatever channel that is, or whatever activities, your hobbies you have, or whatever it is, but you've got to go, especially initially, you've got to go and find people. You can't just sit there. We had it, initially a lot of people come, they just sit and I don't know, because there's a lot of locals, you know what I mean? You've got to go out and make an effort. You aren't going to come, it's not that easy to find stuff on Google or, trying to, we were saying before we started the show, like customer service, trying to get in touch with people or anything, it's difficult. You've got to go out and meet people.
Yeah.
If you want to get anything done in Saudi still, you've got to go yourself in person.
Yes.
Forget emailing a company, go to the HL, go to the bank, go in person everywhere, and you'll get stuff done. But if you just try and send a WhatsApp message, you use an email, nothing's going to happen.
I agree.
You've got to be active. You've got to be willing to get out there and have a difficult experience, or be passed around multiple offices.
Don't be afraid of doing that, because of all the places in the world, this is where the people are open to it the most.
Yeah.
They talk about Saudi hospitality, hafawa. They talk about Saudis being the most hospitable people in the world, the same way we talk about New Zealand being the cleanest, greenest country in the world. But really, for me, I have seen many corners of the world, it is one of the most hospitable countries in the world. So the Saudis will embrace you, and at the same time, the people that have got the courage to take the leap to be here now, expat-wise, are people that are highly motivated, generally driven, little bit crazy, and so therefore they are epic people. This is the coolest thing that I have found about being here now, is that the people that I get to surround myself now with are just, I had epic people in my life in New Zealand, but the coolest people as well.
All over as well. And generally at the moment, like you were saying on that, the people who are some of the best in their professions and industries in the world. From all around the world.
Which is why the rest of the world is going to get left behind. Because it's a melting pot of the best of the best.
You've got the best construction, you've got engineers, you've got best, whatever. Everyone, consultant, everyone's the best coming in. Because that's what Saudi's attracting and demanding. They want the best this, they want the best that, they want the best for this,
What a great melting pot.
It is.
And so the tangible hack to that, of what you've just said about getting yourself out there, the easiest tangible hack is to take your earpods out. Because the minute that you're walking around with the earpods in, it gives you the quickest excuse to not have to engage.
Yeah.
Because I can't hear you, I'd have to take these out to say something to you if you're in the line behind me or in front of me. The minute you don't have them in and you're like, oh...
You're open.
Yes.
Yeah. You're opening yourself up. Amazing. So, where can we point people in the right direction? Where can people follow you, your handles, everything else?
Just Kiwi Kim Explores. You can find me everywhere. Kiwi Kim Explores. TikTok coming soon. YouTube
coming soon.
Later. Sometime when I find the time.
In the summer, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Let's see. Inshallah. But absolutely would love. Follow my Instagram. I think that you'll find it super, super useful.
It really is though.
If you are already here, if you're considering coming, or if you're not even considering coming and you're just interested about what life looks like here, I truly believe that it provides valuable insight information. So Kiwi Kim Explores, Instagram, and everywhere else will be Kiwi Kim Explores.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, great. It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
Really loved you having on, sharing everything. I think people get a lot of value, like you always do, on your short form content on Instagram, but now on a longer form like a podcast. And I think we both just encourage you to keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
It's really great, and I can't wait to see you go on TikTok and do fantastic there. You're going to go on YouTube, and that's going to blow up. So, really excited for you.
Right back at you as well, and I totally appreciate and thank you guys for embracing me into your community also, and how great is it when you can meet people that of the same ilk, and let's do great things while we're here together.
Absolutely. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.